Hi, this is Christina from thegodlyindianmom.com. Today's book review is on The Confessions of St. Augustine by St. Augustine of Hippo. So this book was written somewhere from 397 to 400 AD, written by St. Augustine of Hippo. This is also one of my very favorite books. I really loved it because it's very relatable, and I think it will be relatable to a lot of Christians who come to knowing the Lord later in their life, somewhere during college or something. They would have heard Jesus, Jesus, God, God. They would have heard these words, but their personal walk, if it had come later in their life, they would be able to relate a lot with St. Augustine of Hippo. So yet another accessible book I would highly recommend. One of the things with the devotional books is that it is also the Spirit of God that helps us to understand and to hear things from the work, and that is what it is. How much you get out from it is the Spirit of God speaking through His saints to reach out to us, the love of God which we see in their lives. So this book details the life of St. Augustine, his life with his parents. His mother was the only believer. His father and him wanted nothing to do with God. But as the Bible says, a godly wife, by her conduct, will be able to bring her unbelieving spouse to know the Lord. And that is what happens. And it's a beautiful example. And it was the same with her son. And the best thing about St. Augustine of Hippo is that he's this very brilliant man, very highly intellectual, knows all world philosophies, knows all the in-trend philosophies that are going around, and he's well versed with what's happening in culture and society at that time, and all the teachings that are going on, wants to be on all the new in things, and he's this super brilliant man, and he's always with the scholars, the educated people and the crowd, and he knows what the world is saying, because it's not like he's just stuck in his own small town. He travels, he speaks, he meets, he himself lectures, and he's this brilliant man, and he wants nothing to do with God. And his mother just leaves him alone. And he has this conversation with a bishop, but even that doesn't pull him. And it's interesting how God in his own time brings in Saint Augustine. And then he himself gets to make up his mind on what he believes about God, and why would he like to believe in this particular God, and why not the other philosophies, and that's when the whole thing happens. I think to be rationally able to make up your mind, not because somebody's telling it, not because you're born into it, and not because someone is force feeding something into your ideas, and that's what makes this particular work, The Confessions of St. Augustine, very relatable and easily to be understood. And then after him coming to know the Lord, then it details his life, what happens after on. Again, Christian life is not a bed of roses. You see all the losses that he goes through, and still what is it that makes his faith. And if you look at the historical context, he was living during the time when Rome was actually declining. Rome was no longer the superpower. Barbarians were attacking it. And still, what is it that gives him this faith? And you can see that out of this particular book. So it's a absolutely wonderful book, and especially seeing his mother's faith. A godly woman is truly a treasure. And the way she is with her husband, that speaks volumes. And for me, it was a wonderful reminder, and it's a beautiful book. I would highly recommend it.